Hello everybody, you're with Journey Now. I'm Amber and I'm Heidi. And today we're going to try something a little different. We are actually going to be giving out some channeled information in regards to hair loss, hair in itself and the scalp, and we'll see what's going to come through. That is a topic they have been suggesting and has been coming up, and so when we pick our videos that we're going to put out there, we really are taking our guidance from them as to the topics that we are going to put on display for you guys to take information from. And so this is one that they have been really wanting us to bring forward into the light, and I'm not sure how much information there is on this topic as of yet, but let's see if we can input some of our own. And we're just gonna begin right away. And with saying that, we're also going to be including within this video a light activation for the hair and the scalp as well. And we have this drawing and we're gonna want you to take a look at it. We'll show it to you now, just to imprint. I did this a little earlier because Heidi gave me a call and said that they were requesting, or well, actually now might be a good point for you to address that. Right, okay, so there's a few things that they want to address before we even start this video today with this topic in mind. So they've been wanting me to address, when I say there's going to be people out there who are wanting to know, well, who is they exactly? And if you haven't been in touch with these videos from Journey Now yet, and maybe this is your first time here, let's really get into what they means. So when I'm saying they, I myself am being used as a transmitter. That's how they like me to describe myself, and you'll hear these terms all over the place: psychic, medium, etc. And it really doesn't matter what form that you choose to label it with. There are slight differences among the labels that you attach to yourself, and so really feel into your own definition that they're giving you that describes what you're doing and what this is exactly. And for me, I refer to myself as a transmitter of information. And so they wanted me to express before we begin that also when I am saying they would really prefer that I say we. I will say they because when I start to say we, it becomes really confusing when you're trying to use your ears and your rationale on the left side of your brain, because we, then you'll become confused, does not fit into the structure of the flow of how we are speaking. However, when I'm saying we, I am really referring to myself as the tool. I'm referring to my guides and my angels and my spirit family, my spirit team, and any other dimensional beings that wish to come forth that have something to attribute within this frame of work. And also, most relevantly, when we are speaking of we, and meaning they at the same time, don't forget that you have an oversoul and a higher self up there. And it would never be possible to do anything, any of these works, as a light worker or whatever you'd like to call yourself. None of that would ever be possible if you were not connecting to yourself or your oversoul. So this is when they want me to really express the importance of putting it in the frameworks of we. But I will continue to use they just to simplify that for viewers, etc. But just to let you know, if a we comes out, I'm not saying we, even though that is included. What I am really referring to is the we, which means we are all one and it is a whole unit, and we includes us all. And that also includes you, because for you to be tuning into these videos, etc., you have to be aligning yourself with some form of information coming through, or some form of me or some form of her, etc. And so when I say we, it really is just a universal term referring to the whole of it all. So I hope that helps, and I again will just say what comes because I am directly relating information, but they did want me to clarify that. So with that being said, we're going to begin today's information regarding hair. So just give us a moment here. We're going to attune into our heart chakras. This is always the place that you want to go to first when you're doing any type of channeling work, be it light language, etc. You always start from the heart, and that is the best place that we can suggest you start from on any endeavor that you may be undertaking. And also always put that intention forward that any information coming out and coming to you is always from the highest of love and light that there is. So that's always put your intention before you start to try to channel anything. So lots of energy coming in right now. I'm actually getting some extraterrestrial energies related to this topic. I'm not sure why. Prominently right now, I'm feeling the divine masculine and the divine feminine stepping forward, and it seems just fitting based on the topic. So let's see where this goes. They say, we are seeing playing out on the 3D dimensional plane that is humanity living its own self-expression. We are seeing a huge crisis as far as our relationship with the scalp and the hair. And I'm pulling right now the divine feminine and masculine, and what I'm getting is that there is a lack of unity between the two that is playing a huge role in this epidemic or crises of hair loss. And they're saying that there is no specific gender relation involved. So when they're saying that we are bringing forth divine feminine and masculine united, really they're speaking of those two coming together like the infinity sign. And you'll have to forgive me because as of recently, light language activation has been occurring for me, and I'm having waves of it coming through, and so that's what you're seeing right here. So again, I'll just say thank you for that, but I would prefer to focus right now on the information, and so we'll just put that down. So what they are saying is that they say there was a time on the earthly plane where the divine feminine and the divine masculine were in balance and harmony and united, as was the original form of their existence as a whole. And they say if we see, it's coming back. Okay.
Gotta love
they're
that,
saying
hey, right?
that if we want to look back on ancient civilizations dealing with, sorry, please take me seriously as I'm saying this, because I know it does look kind of ridiculous, but okay, let's just take a second here. Okay. They're saying as an ancient civilization that used to exist on the planet, when we are looking at ancient civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria, etc., there was a time in human existence where as a race we did walk united in our connection to the united equalization and harmonization. Here we go again.
I was gonna say, don't pick those hands up again.
Yeah. It's very distracting. So let's just get past this. Let me just clear that. Okay. where we did exist as a species on the earth plane, where we were in balance. And these are the ancient civilizations that have been lost to us for the reasons that don't belong in this video per se, but if you would like yourself to learn more on those ancient civilizations, do look up the Atlanteans, etc., because there's a lot of information there that is relevant to where we are going with 5D Earth itself. So what they're saying is, if we take perspective of the ancient civilizations, a large part of this, when looking back, was brothership and sistership, and they call it like the sisterhood, especially being coming from the plane of the 3D. When I'm trying to relay the information to you guys, we have really kind of labeled hair as a feminine aspect as far as beauty, etc. And so what they're saying is, there was a time when it was all equalized, and hair played a large role in the nurturing and caregiving of our bodies and our sisterhood and brotherhood. And so they're saying, if you reflect back to those times, you could actually see for yourself that people used to actually wash hair together, and hair was really celebrated as a form of individual expression of the body, as well as it was a coming together and a nurturing of the self. And so you used to see these women coming together in groups, and they would partake kind of in the way that we view going to the salon or the spa and getting our nails done. They would partake of these almost ceremonial type get-togethers, where you would literally see people forming groups, and they would come with all of their givings, is what they're saying. So whatever those would have looked like in those times, but you would literally be coming and presenting what you had to offer for this type of ceremony. And it literally was a hair washing. And so there was focus spent on nurturing the feminine and the masculine aspects of our own self-expression. And so they're wanting me to say that when we're referring to self-expression and we're talking about the body, so the bodies that we are living in and existing in while we are here in our incarnation to play in the matrix, they say you really are the ones who choose your avatar. And so when they are referring to that as hair as a self-expression point, this is where that's coming from, is hair and the body that we walk around with originally was intended as a form of self-expression or creative outlet. And so they're saying to remember that when you are coming down for an incarnation, while genetics do play a role, you have to understand that your genetic choices are also part of your creative outlet. Coming in and designing your own body is self-expression. And so going back to the origins, when we fully understood what a gift the body was. And so this is where those ceremonial type things would take place with the hair washing, because those were times when we really celebrated the body, and we had awareness of our own self-expression, being involved with the hair, the skin, our whole makeup as a walking matter. So they're saying that with the expanse of time and the way that things have played out into the timelines that we're sitting on right now, there has gradually become a huge separation in the divine masculine and feminine. This is where labels become present, and we really start to divide ourselves from the understanding that we are both. And so when it comes to this crisis or epidemic, as they would refer to it as, we're really seeing that accelerate, as well as the number of people afflicted with these types of disorders of the hair and the scalp. Not only is there a large increase in the number, there is also a large increase on the equalization of it being distributed both to man and women alike. And so there was a time where hair loss was strictly thought of as a masculine event that occurs, and people would go around thinking that only men could lose their hair, and that's not the case at all. And we're starting to see where the spectrum plays out. And again, they really want focus to reside on the yin and yang, the positive and negative. It's always about a scale. That's all there is. That's really all there is. And then we get into the whole free will thing again. But really, you can't have one without the other. It's true of everything. That's all there is to say about that. And so, what they're saying is you really can't have one side of the spectrum balancing without more awareness being shed onto that, which can look like a large increase in the masses of people that are going to be afflicted with hair loss. And you can see the good and the bad of this. Of course, the bad being that we literally are seeing more and more people walking around losing that sense of joy in their self-expression. So light at the end of the tunnel here for that is that as we walk forward now into a place where we are actually present in this large event that is occurring, more focus is brought to that, specifically that we might look at it to propel forward into the other spectrum of it, which really looks like us understanding back to our ancestral lines with the unitedness of the masculine and feminine. And so they're saying to really take that awareness of the lack of it and try to shift that as an understanding of where it comes from and where it's going. And this is easy to do. They say that there are many ways that we can reactivate our awakening of that unitedness. So one of the ways that they wanted to bring that forward for you guys was quite simply in the form of code and symbol, because they say if you want to just look at this on occasion, maybe look at it for a couple days, once a day, etc. When you feel the need, take a look at that, because that's really going to bypass and go directly into your DNA structure, because it is filled with coding that is going to reactivate that assimilation of the harmonics, and it's really going to start to work at balancing what is imbalanced and causing the loss of hair to begin with. And so this really can play into the whole spectrum when we're looking at, I refer to them as the shadow elite. And as most of the viewers tuning in here will already have somewhat of an awareness of this type of entity or ruling of this planet. That's not what this video is about, so I don't want to go into consumerism right now, but what they want me to pull from that download of information is literally to really think about what you're putting on your hair and scalp. But they don't want you to get so caught up in that part of it, because when you get caught up in the this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, you're really feeding into the negative side. And so you can feel out what's comfortable for you, and whether that looks like organic products that you're going to be putting onto your hair and scalp, or whether that looks like just taking what you have been using and putting intent into it of clearing and of reducing the negative impact, that as well can help. So we're not saying throw all your shampoos away and go buy a whole new cabinet full of supplies. literally do what's right for you, what you can do with the least amount of resistance from within. But these are just little helpful tips and tricks when dealing with hair loss. So what they're saying is one of the easiest ways that we can begin our process of harmonizing those aspects of the DNA that actually reside, they're showing me, not only does it reside in the form of the hair follicle and shaft, etc., we're really talking about the skin as a living organ. And so, of course, we have our dermal layers, and we have to be in awareness of the fact that every part of our makeup as a body is connected. So it really goes down into the layers, and they're showing me that there is involvement here with the neurological patterning. And they're telling me also that to be aware of the fact that, of course, this is where the consumerism part plays in. There are specific implants, etc., that have been downloaded into us subconsciously against our will, etc., as we've been in this human plane, that we can also remove, that have been implanted specifically to make us fall into those beliefs where we lose our ability to actually cherish the body and our own self-expression. And so we can actually begin to remove those with our own awareness of them and our own intention on them. And what that looks like for each person is going to be different, of course. And so they're saying a good way that anybody would have the capability to play into the positive spectrum is just simply with washing your hair. And this doesn't require money. This doesn't require anything other than a personal willingness to look at that moment of time where you are washing your hair and put focus on it. And you can choose to do that in any way you want. You can think of rainbows, you can think of diamonds. They, for some reason, really want me, probably because I'm in a feminine body right now, and I identify with the feminine side more so when I'm talking about the hair. They really want you to play around with those pretty aspects, but of course this doesn't mean that as a man you can't also do this. What they're just saying is pick something that you like. And so they're showing me rainbows and diamonds, and really bathe your hair in those intentions. And you can actually sit and talk with your hair while you do it. You can invite your higher self to come forth. You can invite, actually, they're saying you can go and invite aspects that are your right and your lineage, pulling back from those Atlantean roots, etc., Lemurian roots. You can bring those forward while you wash your hair, and they will work with you as long as you create this safe space. And that can look like 1 minute, it can look like 5 minutes. Whatever amount of time you're willing to put in is all very valuable. And so they really want you to just put awareness and focus into washing your hair in whatever way feels good for you. And so that's a helpful way that we can really start to reactivate those parts of ourselves that we are unaware of or missing, or have a heavy layer built over them. So they're saying also, again, they always do like to bring in the fact that crystals and rocks, all of these beautiful gifts from Mother Nature, from Gaia, are put there for a reason. And we need to use them more. We came into a place where we were living totally void of our awareness of our connection to Gaia. And so they're also telling me that this is kind of neat. So what they're saying is when you wash your hair and you put those loving intentions in, and you really have that central point of awareness, which is just love and connecting to yourself and connecting to your ancestors and connecting to the Mother Earth herself, the very act of that, they're saying, washes down the drain. So they're saying not to forget that everything we do has a direct impact on Mother Earth herself. And so when we wash our hair with awareness, we are actually feeding that into our mother as well. And so it begins to look like a circle, and everything comes back to a circle. And this is really just the whole coming into play. And that's really where we want to be sitting, is in a place where we are whole, we are fully aware, we are fully awake. And so they're saying that not only by doing these acts upon ourselves do we benefit, but by benefiting ourselves, we are actually benefiting our mother, we are benefiting dimensionally. It goes out like a ripple. And so anything, again, that you can do for yourself, you are giving out to others as well. So this is where, again, we bring in the self-love aspects. They're saying that it is necessary just to bring up a reminder again of the shadow elites and what that looks like as a consumerism. But they do want me to actually address the shadow elite in a video altogether on its own. So for very quickly, for people who might not know what that is or what I'm even talking about, we are currently residing in a structured society where we actually have lost all control. We are completely brainwashed, hypnotized, etc. And so you have to remember that from day one till where you're sitting now, you have been bombarded with all kinds of transmitters and devices via the media, etc. And so this is where they're bringing in the hair. Now, specifically to understand that hair loss is not coming by accident. It is actually something that has been created by the shadow elite, because they are very aware of how emotionally connected human beings are to their own self-expression or their own avatars. And so they are specifically targeting that. So whether you remember or not who you are, that becomes irrelevant, because those implants have been being placed in your shampoos and hair products and in the commercials about hair that you see on TV. Like, it goes so far back and so far down. So when you're thinking about your hair, and if you might be suffering in a place that is very heartbreaking, that I see many people sitting at, where they're losing their hair and their self-worth at the same time, really realize that you didn't do this. You don't deserve this. This isn't who you are. And that is a big part that is going to help sort of catapult you into your own awareness of taking back control over your own self-expression and the avatar that you are walking in. And so don't forget, it's no accident. These diseases, these occurrences of hair loss, and all these things that are basically consuming the globe right now, you aren't responsible for that. You didn't draw a bad luck of genetics and, oh, because my dad is bald, so am I. That's what they want it to look like, and that's what they want us to believe. So really just having that understanding is going to go a long way in helping with the release of the ties to this divide. So step into your own power when we're speaking about our own bodies, and become aware of where you're sitting with your body template, where you belong, and do take back your divine right to have hair. That's simply the way they put it. It is your divine right to have the hair that you said was ideal. And we all have that capability. So they're showing me that right now there is a large awareness being brought forward onto this, and just keep that momentum going, because you don't deserve to walk around without You don't need to look in the mirror every day and be reminded what you're lacking. And that is the whole point. So really understand where it comes from, but don't fall into play on that spectrum. Move forward with it, make the choice, move forward by inviting those helpful things, those tips and tricks. Really connect with yourself, and as a whole, we can begin to address this, and we can reunite the harmonies and the balances that are required to return to our ideal forms of self. I think that that's all that they are giving me as far as hair. I think it's a good point for us to all start with. And with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get moving with the light activation for the hair and the DNA activation for the scalp. Let's go ahead.
So I'm just gonna quickly
that.
hold up that image one more time, and then I'll get started with the activation.
So I want everyone to just take a deep breath now that you have observed those form of code and those activation symbols. Breathe them in. And then when we breathe out, just releasing anything negative that we might have associated within that spectrum of the DNA. So this, once again, is a transmission for the DNA activation for hair and scalp. Hiari ki ti shi hara aruka hara atishi ki isha 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 aruka aruka aru ushiki tahara ushiki hara iki ki aru 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 aruka hara atu tu shia hara ati shiki tahara aru hara atia hara a shia kahara atu ti aru hu arika hara ati shiki datara aruatara ia hara uka haru uta hashikita ishikiti hi ti pri iki aru ari ikiti hara ashikiti ti ishikita hara ua hara ati aruata haruaka taiti li katawata aru tia hara ati ki shikita ishikita hara ata uru uku ari ikiti iriwa hara aru tata aru tu shikiti hari ikiti hiriwata haruata aru ikiti hi shikiti ariwa shikiti hari I shikiti hara usha aruta hara ashikiti hi. Whew. Thank you so much. Blessed being. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in. I hope that helps you guys all out in some form or another. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please like and subscribe so that we can move this information forward. Absolutely. And really get it out there for more people to become aware and to hold their own truth. Love and light.
Absolutely. Before we go, once again, if there is anyone out there who has a topic of interest they would like us to discuss, we are very open to receiving those suggestions. So please comment below and we will post them as we feel the need to. So thanks again for watching.
Right. Bye.
Love and light. See you later.